Thank you very much, everybody. Hello, beautiful, beautiful North Carolina. This is really the end of a journey, but a new one will be starting, and that's the one we've wanted to partake in, which is basically to make America great again. And now we'll have a chance to do it after today. Hopefully, everything will work out well. We're way leading. All we have to do is close it out. We have to close it out. If we get our vote, there's nothing they can do. This is one of those deals. If we get our vote, we're leading every swing state, which is unheard of for the Republican Party. They're always up at the end. They always were good finishes or bad finishes, depending. Sometimes they'd get there, but you'd always go in by losing hundreds of thousands of votes, and you'd watch it like a racehorse, and sometimes they'd get there, and sometimes they wouldn't. But with North Carolina, I always got there because we won every race, every primary. So essentially, you know, they have an expression, I hate the expression actually, but it's ours to lose. Does that make sense to you? It's ours to lose. If we get everybody out and vote, there's not a thing they can do. And if we don't, they have to get every person that ever signed anything in that horrendously dangerous party that's going to destroy our country. And it already is destroying our country. We just can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen. So here's my only purpose in even being here today. Get out and vote. You know that. I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. You're patriots. You built this country. You built this country. But I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And I've asked that question so many times. I've never had one hand go up for the other. With your vote tomorrow, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals coming into our country. Which I happen to think is the absolute worst thing that has ever happened to our country. I've never seen it. They're putting in murderers, releasing all of their prisoners from jails all over the world, not South America, all over the world, into our country. I think it's the worst thing. You know, in the polling, when I see the polling, I see that inflation and the economy are number one, which is sort of standard. But I really would like to put that, because we're going to close up that border so fast. We're going to get those people out here. And she's not going to do it. She couldn't do it if she wanted to. She wouldn't know what to do. They have open borders. And you know what? If things went bad today, you would have, and tomorrow, you would have open borders the first day of that. And you'll have... They have 21 million people that they let into our country. Many of these people are murderers. Think of it. 13,099 are murderers. The big drug lords. The prison population from countries all over the world. And if I ran a country, I'd say, get my prisons. Open borders. They just walk in. No vetting. Think of it. No vetting. We have no idea who they are. You're not allowed to ask. You're not allowed to ask. They just walk right into our country. And they killed people. You have murders. So you have 13,099 murders. Many of them have killed far more than one person. Bad things are going to happen. And you have terrorists at levels that we've never seen before. We had terrorists down the lowest we've ever. I had in 2019, and this isn't done by me, this is done by Border Patrol, which, by the way, endorsed me. They gave me a great endorsement. They said, he's the greatest president ever. He's the greatest president, the head guy. Boy, Paul was great. He made a beautiful speech, but he said, he's the greatest president our country has ever had. I said, does that include Lincoln, Washington, and a couple of them? But it's very nice. But they gave me the strongest endorsement. And I have to say this, in the same little speech, they said, she's the worst thing to ever happen to our country. And it's very hard for them to say that She never made one phone call in 4 years to the Border Patrol. How we doing? I used to drive them crazy. They probably said, oh, no, it's the president again. Yes, yes, we're fighting our president. Yes. I used to drive them nuts. When I had nothing to do, I said, call the Border Patrol. And we got, just drop that chart, please. That chart, my all-time favorite chart. My all-time favorite chart, I love that chart. I sleep with that chart. I kiss it every night before I go. Because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the chart. If you take a look at the arrow on the bottom, that was the day I left office. That was the lowest illegal immigration we ever had. And I kept it pretty good. And then you take a look, and we had Mexico pay for their soldiers. They didn't want to pay for their soldiers. I said, you have to give us soldiers while we build the wall. And they paid so much money to us, and they said, we're not going to do that. They actually laughed at me when I suggested it, and I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a tariff of 100% on all your cars and everything that comes into the United States. They said, you know what they said? Sir, we would be greatly honored to let you have our soldiers free of charge. Thousands. How many would you need, sir? I said, as many as it takes. And they were great. They made a big contribution to our security, let me tell you. But they got to stop with, now we're talking Turkey. One of the first calls I'm going to make is to Mexico. You stop letting people come in through our border and come in through your southern border, and you stop it. Because Mexico, and I had a great relationship with the president, but he retired now. He left. He was a good man. He was a socialist. You can't have everything, but he was a good man. But they paid a fortune for the soldiers along the border. We were able to have great numbers. Well, built 571 miles of wall. I was going to add 200 more. By the way, far more than I said. I was talking about 200, 250. We built 571, and nobody talks about it. And you know what I did? Because we had a Congress that was not behaving, I said, I don't care. This is an invasion of our country. I'm taking it out of the military. And I took it out of the military because I gave them $725 billion. I say, congratulations, fellas, I'm taking out 10. What is it for, sir? It's called a wall because we're being invaded by Mexico. But now we have a new president in Mexico. Supposed a very nice woman, they say. I haven't met her. And I'm going to inform her on day one or sooner that if they don't stop this onslaught of criminals and drugs coming into our country, I'm going to immediately impose a 25% tariff on everything they send in to the United States of America. And the reason I delayed that, you're the first ones I've told it to. Congratulations, North Carolina. And it's only got a 100% chance of working, because if that doesn't work, I'll make it 50. And if that doesn't work, I'll make it 75 for the tough guys, and I'll make it 100. Then I'll make it 100. And at some point, they'll have so many soldiers on their southern border. You know, their southern border is where they come in. They come right through. And by the way, it has a 100% chance of working. It's only a question. I'll start off at 25%. That's a lot. Do you know Mexico's our #1 trading partner? Do you know what that costs? They make a fortune. They've taken over our country in a way since this Biden-Harris people. They became our #1 trading partner, and they're ripping us off left and right. It's ridiculous. They're not going to rip us off. They wanted $3 billion to meet with Biden. They wouldn't have said that with me. I would have said, oh, really? You want $3 billion to meet? I'd do the opposite. If you don't give us $3 billion, I'll impose the biggest frickin' tax. You know, I've never told you any of this, and I wanted to wait till the day because I don't want to have her She's a low IQ individual. I don't want to have her say, you know, I had an idea last night while I was sleeping, turning, tossing, sweating. Because I sleep, I turn and I toss and I sweat, and I sleep like, no, I don't even sleep, you know. You know, I've gone through 62 days without a day off. Every single day. Every single day. And you know what? She takes a day off every other day. Last week, she makes a terrible little, you know, she has these press conferences that last for about 2 minutes, and then she takes the day off. You know, when you're running for the president of the United States and you want to do it because you have to fix the country, that's the way I'm doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I could be at the most gorgeous beaches in the world right now, but I'd much rather be with you people because you people I like you people better. I'd much rather be with you. No, I would. No, and we're doing something historic. You know what we're doing? This has never been done before. They'll never have rallies like this. You know, we went to Milwaukee the other night, and we're doing great in Wisconsin, by the way. We could have filled that arena. What do they have? 28,000 seats, including the floor, fully packed. We could have filled that arena 3 times, maybe 4 times. The people outside, thousands and thousands of people. There's never going to be that. In 4 years, you're going to have a candidate, Republican, Democrat candidate, and they're going to come to North Carolina, right? And they're going to say, how many are there? And the consultants back there that make a fortune because they think they bring these people. You know, they don't bring, nobody brings anything. We bring them. We together bring them. But you know what they're going to say? And the same people they'll be represented, very smart people, they're very good people. You have to, you know, can't give them too much leash. We can't give them too much. But they're going to have 250 people come. And that's standard. See the ladies of North Carolina? They've come. They've come. Those beautiful, beautiful ladies. They're looking better and better all the time. These beautiful ladies, and I think they're very well to do. I mean, they're always so beautiful, beautifully coiffed. Look at that. They're just, but here's what I love. They're great Americans. They love our country. They love North Carolina. They come from isn't it nice where you can sort of be closer? They'll travel to California. If I went to Hawaii, they'd be in Hawaii. I think they're loaded. You want to know the truth? I think their husbands. The reason I never see their husbands is because they're working like hell. Because these wives are traveling all over the place. 257, they've been at 257 rallies. And their husbands are going to be so happy when this ends. But I don't want, and you know exactly what I'm saying, I didn't want to say this about what I'm going to do at the border. I stopped the biggest auto plant in the world from being built on the border. China, and I have a lot of respect for China. Look, they're smart as hell. They get angry when I say it, the fake news. So, they're smart as hell. They're like playing chess and grandmasters against playing an average checker player and maybe a less than average checker player. The deals, when I came into office, I've never seen such bad deals with Japan, with China, with the worst trade deals. I actually said, there's only 2 reasons we could have deals so bad. The people making the deals were corrupt, which I actually believe, or they were very stupid. And I think you had a combination of both. And we fixed a lot of those deals. We would have had them all fixed up, but then we had to fix COVID. But we had the greatest, think of it, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country, the greatest. We had the greatest border. That's done by Border Patrol. That's not a Trump special. That's done by Border Patrol, that lovely, gorgeous, I look at it, I get tears in my eyes. And you know, the day of that horrible situation in Butler, it was just about there. It's weird that you have it almost, because it's usually all over the place. You have no idea where it's coming up. When I say lift up the sign, I usually have to look all over. There, I have one over there. But that graph is so meaningful because of, but even if the numbers were bad, I would still kiss it just equally. But those are the best numbers in the history of the border. And then look, it was like an Elon Musk rocket ship went up. They announced they were going to open the borders. I thought they were kidding. I built 200 miles of rail. And this is what Border Patrol wanted. I wanted to have concrete plank like in a parking lot, straight up and down the air, but you wouldn't get vision. And concrete is not as strong in terms of steel. They have very strong specifications. They wanted to have steel, hardened steel, very hard to cut. Then they wanted to have very powerful, high-number concrete. It's a very hard concrete. And then they wanted to have rebar at the highest level of steel strength in the middle, because it's very hard to cut. It's like, it can be done if you're really good, but it's very hard. And then they wanted to have a anti-climb panel on top. I hate it. I hate the anti-climb. I said, I don't like it. It's so beautiful without that damn panel. I said, don't make me do that, sir. It's an anti-climb panel, and it's called that for a reason. And we actually had testers. We had guys, 2 guys that climbed Mount Everest. I said they should qualify. But you know who the best were? We had drug runners. These guys are unbelievable. They went up that thing like it was nothing. Like I never, with 75 pounds of drugs on their back, drug runners. They were beating the Mount Everest. Well, it's a different profession after all. But they were right. That anti-climb panel stops them cold. They couldn't get over the anti-climb, so I said, let's do it. Let's do it. But we built 200 miles of additional, and all they had to do was put it up. The hard work was done. They were built, it was delivered, and the hard work was done. Highest specification, cost more money than what I would have done, but what I would have done, they have acids that actually melt concrete. They have certain acids that you put down. Those planks would have come down very easy. These guys are ingenious. You know, if they would spend their brains on good, everything in the world would be nice. No, they're genius. The way they smuggle drugs into our country. You got to see the cars. They build cavities in engines. So you're inspecting a car. They have them in hubcaps that even if you take the hubcap, you can't find them. It's like a double hubcap. It's the craziest thing. If they would spend that genius on doing good for their country or for us, I mean, we would have no problem. I mean, it's really incredible. And, you know, the people that do the trafficking, what they do with the women is, they put them in trunks of cars. It's mostly women, by the way. Mostly women. A lot of people say traveling and trafficking. But the trafficking is women. And the reason is it's become as big as the drugs. And the reason is because of the internet. The internet made it a modern business and a big business. And I'll tell you, some of these guys are among the richest people in the world. And they run a real operation. And they essentially take care of Kamala because they even have an app where they can call. So they learn where they can drop people that they're putting into the country, where they can come through with drugs. They have an app. Can you believe you call an app? You're now a drug trafficker or a human trafficker, and you say, ding, 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 hello? Where do I drop these people? Go about 7 miles up, and then go a mile left and just drop them at the opening in the gate. Okay, can you believe this? This is Kamala. Right, so all that stuff ends very quickly. We'll get that thing built. But they could have put up 200 miles. Oh, you know what they did with that expensive stuff? And it's expensive. They had it laying in the sand, laying in the mud. It was all there to be put up. All they had to do is flip it up. It goes like, they put it up real fast. 3 weeks. The whole thing, we would have had 750 miles of wall. Think of it. And boy, walls work. Walls work and wheels work. You know, they never get obsolete, right? The computers, in about 2 minutes, they're obsolete. And, but we have the best computer guy there is, right? We have Elon, and he loves it. And you know where Elon is right now? Elon is right now. He's in Pennsylvania campaigning because he thinks it's the single most important thing he's ever worked on. Elon Musk, and we want to thank him. He's an amazing guy. When I saw that rocket came down When I saw that sucker come down, 22 stories, by the way. You know, people think it's like 5 feet high. It's 22 stories. That sucker's coming down, and it's those engines were blowing. And all he says it's all computers. You know, it's true. I said, oh man, it's going to crash. No, dude, it's going right into the gantry. Right? It's going to crash. And then the engines, the fire starts blowing. The bottom left, the whole bottom left is blowing, and it just pushed it up. And then it came down, and those two big arms, you saw the arms? They grabbed that thing like you grab your beautiful baby. See, I've gotten much better. Years ago, I would have said something else, but I've learned. You have to learn. I would have been a little bit more risque. Like you grab your child, and I put it in place, and I called Elon. I said, was that you? Yes. And he said, that's genius. He said, yeah, it was a lot of brain power went into that. I said, why do you do that? He said, well, we don't want to drop a ship in the ocean every time it goes, and you have to start all over. Those things cost billions of dollars. He said, this way we save them. I said, can Russia do that? No. Will they be able to? No, not for a long time. What about China? No. You know, we opened up Space Command. We did the whole thing. If we didn't do that, we'd be way, way behind. Space Force. You know, Space Force. We got one of the many we did so many things with the tax cuts, the regulation cuts, the right to try for those people that are terminally ill. You get the right to try our medicines here instead of going to Asia and Europe. Or if you have no money going home, which is about 99% have no money, and they go home. But the few people that have the kind of money you need for that, that go to Europe, that go to Asia, and we have the best labs in the world, and nobody ever talks about it. They tried to get it for 50 years. I got it done, passed through Congress. You think anything's easy to get passed through those guys? It's not easy. But we did so many things, and we've saved thousands and thousands of lives. It's worked out unbelievably. And you know, nobody wanted it. The scientists didn't want it because they're terminally ill. They don't want to start from a terminally ill person. Looks bad on the records. They didn't want record sheets. The insurance companies hated it. It was very, very, I got everybody into a room. Our country hated it because our country will get sued. When somebody's terminally ill, they die and they sue the country. I said, you can't do that. I got everybody in the room, and I signed an agreement. Everybody agreed that we're going to work beautifully with people that are terminally ill, but they're not going to be allowed to sue anybody. If they die, they die, and if they live, it's going to be the greatest story. We have saved thousands of people, and nobody ever talks about it. You know, nobody ever talks about it. Thousands and thousands. I mean, we have a person in this room who was saved by right to try. We're you know, a space-age drug. I have this doing things, but it takes a long time to get them approved, although I cut it in half. I cut that time in half. But the FDA takes 12 years sometimes to get something. And by the time it's approved, a lot of people are gone. So when they're terminally ill, we get them that drug right away. And they sign an agreement that I or my family will not ever, for any reason and under any circumstance, sue the United States government, such and such a drug maker, such and such a lab, Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Jones. We will not sue anybody. We just want to get better. That's all it says. Pretty good, right? That's pretty good for only a semi-non-lawyer. But that's essentially what it says. And you know, the funny thing is the ones that were most against it were the drug companies and the labs. We have the greatest labs in the world. What we're doing, space-age things, and we got it started. It was dying on the limb before I came along. Well, NASA was dead. When I came along, all you're seeing with the space, and NASA was dead. NASA had grass growing out of its runways. I mean, they had, every time there was a crack, you had grass. This place was dead. Now it's the most vibrant center anywhere in the world. All of their centers, it's vibrant. And Elon brought it back, and the people at NASA are doing a great job. They're all working together. But we brought it back. And ultimately, we want to go to Mars and all, but what I want it for is defense. And Russia and China were killing us in space. And space is so important. It's going to end up being maybe, I don't want to say more important than the Marines, because they'll never speak to me again. But I'll tell you what, it is going to be right up there in terms of importance. It's important. If we didn't have it, we were being lapped by China. They have stuff up there. And Russia, even though they're a little bit busy killing a lot of people, a war that would have never taken place. Zero chance. I'd speak to Vladimir Putin a lot. It was the apple of his eye. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, I closed up his pipeline. It was dead. Nord Stream 2. Biden came in and he allowed it to go. But he closed up the Keystone XL pipeline. Think of that. I said, no, Joe, you got it wrong. You let Keystone go forward and you close up the Russian pipeline. But he did the opposite. And then they said, oh, Trump loves Russia. Trump loves Russia. It's the biggest project they've ever had. I closed it up. Then he came in. The first day he was there, he let him build it. So what is that? Oh, that sounds so cute. I love dogs. I love dogs. We love dogs. You know, Lara Trump, by the way, you happen to know, she's married to my son, and she's the vice chairman along with Michael. They're doing an incredible job. But she would come into the office, and she loves dogs and pets, and she would get me to do things for doggies that you wouldn't believe. Dad, we have to make the cages larger. We have to provide air conditioning. Can you believe it? I didn't know too much about it, but you understand what I'm saying? In these kennels where they're obviously not treated too good. I said, so do we have to give them a steam bath? Or do I? No, she was very, very strong, and I listened to her when she talks, I listen. But Laura was so incredible. As you know, she was born in North Carolina, lived here his whole life. And even Ted Budd, who's doing an incredible job. And I said, Ted, run for the Senate. And he said, I'll do it, but I'm only going to do it if Laura's not going to run. Is that right? He said, I'm only doing it if Laura. And she said, you know, I've devoted so much time, and I'm raising these beautiful children. I have a great husband, and you know, and Ted is great. She said that. She said, you have a great guy in Ted, very nice. But he did say that, and you know, a lot of people would say they'll bull through. Nobody would have had a chance. They love her. They love her in the party. They love her even the Democrats love her. Can you believe it? Stand up, Ted. Stand up. And he's doing a great job, but I thought that was really nice. And she knew he would do a great job. Tomorrow you have to stand up and tell Kamala that you've had enough. You can't take anymore. You just can't. What? They're all screaming, fire her, please. I mean, what a terrible job, what they have done to our country. And you're going to say that to her. You're going to say, you've done a terrible job, you're grossly incompetent, we're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out. Get the hell out of here. You're out of here. Get out of here. That's what you're doing. Thank you very much. So with your vote, we're going to win North Carolina, we're going to defeat Kamala, and we're going to make America great again. I hope you don't mind that entire opening, you know, I was going to get out of here fast. I'm doing 4 of these things today. They're big. And the voice is holding up just about barely. But I had to express it. You have been a very special group to me because I've won I've never lost a primary. I've never lost. In North Carolina, I've won everything. I won those elections. I've made all these friends. So I just give you a little bit of a thing. And by the way, the press will say, oh, he rambled. No, that's not rambling. You know what that is? That was genius. That's the weave. No, see, I wove, frankly, the rest of it I don't really even have to talk about. But that was the ultimate weave. And think of it. Isn't it nice that you can have a president that doesn't need to use a teleprompter? Isn't it nice? And I got to go a little quicker now because you know what? I took Marco's place and I took Sarah Huckabee Sanders' place. I said, do you mind if I go now? Because you know what? We got to keep a schedule. And I'm going to ask them to come up right now. Just come up. Because I took their place. And it's so rude. Marco is a big winner, beautiful winner from Florida. As you know, he's a great guy. He's my friend. And Sarah's now the governor of Arkansas. And we love those people in Arkansas. So while I'm talking, I'm going to ask them to come. See, we're trying to conserve a little time. But they are incredible people. Oh, come on up if you can, if you're around, wherever. Come on. See? That's called efficiency. I figure Sarah would be finished now and Marco would just about be getting started. Two great friends, two very talented. No, but I figured Sarah would just about now be finishing and Marco would be starting. And you know, he's a great speaker. They're both great speakers. They speak for a long time. And I'd be sitting in the back. I'd say, get them off the stage now. So they were so nice. And I'm going to just ask them to each say a little bit. And we're then going to make our next stop. Come on. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. It is an honor to share the stage with America's best and favorite president. And soon to be our next president again. We know we've never had a president who fights more, who fights harder, and loves this country the way that Donald J. Trump does, and that's why we need him back in the White House. Every day when the left was relentlessly attacking me, it was Donald Trump who stood up for me, who empowered me, and gave me confidence to do my job, and that's what he does for every single American, every single day. He will not let us down. Make sure you get out and vote, North Carolina. We need you because America needs Donald Trump, and we're going to make it happen. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
We took, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, wow. Unfortunately, our country took a wrong turn 4 years ago, and now we're stuck in a malaise. Everything is bad news. Our border is broken. We're not respected in the world. Hardworking men and women have been forgotten and left behind. Our allies don't trust us, and our enemies don't fear us. We are tired of living in a country that is no longer dreaming big, but that is going to change tomorrow, and you're going to help change it. Tomorrow, North Carolina and the country are going to make our 45th president our 47th president. And with Donald Trump back in the White House, together we will dream big again for this country. We will be a country that once again is proud of its history, excited about its future, because together with Donald Trump, we are going to make America not just great, but greater than it has ever been before. Thanks.
Okay, so they both did better. If they stood up here and spoke each for half an hour, what they just did was better and appreciate it, and brings us a little bit into schedule. You know, one thing Marco was talking, and I said, you got hit so hard by that hurricane, and we didn't care about what we're doing today. We only cared about saving lives, and we did a good job. FEMA did a horrible job. The administration, they're still not there. You know why? Because they've spent all their money on bringing in murderers and a lot of people. They spent all their money on bringing in illegal migrants. They've also taken a lot of your jobs, especially jobs from the black population. But think of this. When I started having to think about North Carolina a little bit in terms of a thing called the election, I said to our people back there, who've been fantastic, Chris, Susie, everybody, I said, you know, we got a problem because North Carolina is reliable for me. I mean, I've never lost there. Never lost. And I don't think we're going to start now. I don't think. I've never lost there. We have a beautiful lead right now in early voting. You know, last time I wasn't leading, and I won it twice, but I was way behind. In fact, I went to my people. I said, hey, man, I'm like way behind here. What's going on, Michael? Right? What was it, like 200,000 votes? I said, how the hell do I win? But the later voting came in, Republican. Boom, and we blew him away, right? He was right. He said, just relax. Just relax. I'm screaming, what the hell happened in North Carolina? But that's the way it works. I mean, the Republicans are used to voting late. They do it. They feel better about it. They want to be there on Tuesday. And that's all we want them to do, is do the same thing that they've done. But I have to say, an amazing thing happened, because I went down. I had to be the first, but I went close, but I didn't want to bother people. I mean, it was devastating. And then shortly thereafter, I went to the sites, and it was horrible. The houses were ripped. People are still missing. Many people died. A lot of people don't know. You've had terrible FEMA response, like non-existent. Franklin Graham was great, and so many other people were great. And I made a big contribution toward the effort, but I said, rather than me do it, I was ready to do it, but I said, I'll give it to Franklin and others that are doing so well there. It's amazing, some of the people that work there. So we gave them a lot of money, and they're doing a job. But no response. But you know what? I said to Michael, and I said to other people, these people have been wiped out. Their houses are gone. You got to see. I mean, trees are ripped, giant trees, 10 foot in diameter. They're ripped out like they were toothpicks. I've never seen anything like it. And just clean. Not only were the houses gone, but the concrete foundations were taken out. You'd see them laying 20 miles down the road. It was the most devastating that you can imagine. I said, we'll be lucky. And this was a very Trump area. We know what that means. It's Trumpy. They call it a Trumpy area. And with a lot of love and great people, no crime, no nothing. Just great people, but it was devastated, you know, essentially destroyed. You'll probably have it built back in about 15 minutes, right? Because that's the way you are, workers. But I said, you know, if we get 50% of the vote, I don't know they're not going to show up. So I figured anywhere, not having done this business that long, actually, I figured very accurately, anywhere from 25 to 50% of the people may come and vote. And here's what happened. The lines were through the roof. I don't know where the hell you all came from. We had a man and woman standing in line, good-looking couple, but the man's shirt had mud on it, and the woman was cloaked. I mean, it was, I said, man, look at this. And they're standing in line, getting ready to vote, and it was a long line, too. And you broke the all-time record for North Carolina early voting, right? I've never seen anything. I've never seen. So we love you. Look, this is why our country's great, and it's people like you. It's really, really amazing. Over the past 4 years, Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon its people. She has violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of gangs and criminal migrants from prisons and jails and insane asylums and mental institutions all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. stealing countless American lives. They're killing people. They're killing people at will. Only days ago, an illegal alien from North, and this was a rough one. Just happened, you know that. An illegal alien from North Africa who Kamala let into our country with her horrendous open border, just a dangerous, horrendous situation, traveled to a Jewish neighborhood in Chicago and tried to execute a Jewish man on the street, shooting him in the back as he walked to synagogue. He then opened fire on police and paramedics, shooting an ambulance before police returned fire and ended his rampage fairly quickly. Our police, and by the way, our police have got to be respected. We have to give their dignity back. We can't take their pensions, their house, their family. They want to stop crime. We have to let them stop crime. We have to give them their dignity and their honor back. In July, an illegal alien who Kamala released into our country again with her open border, just walk right through, sir. Did he do anything wrong? And they could look, you know, the guys from ICE, they're great, and Border Patrol, they could look at somebody and say, they can say where he's from, what he did, how many people did he kill, and they don't like what they're doing. They have a much easier job doing what they're doing right now, but they want to stop people, or they want to get them out, or they want to put them in jail. Some are so bad you can't actually let out. If you did, it would actually be dangerous just to bring them back to their countries. Their countries weren't accepting them back until I came. You know, with Barack Hussein Obama, I call him the Great Divider. He's the Great Divider. And he hit me. Oh, and Michelle hit me. I was so nice to her. Out of respect, I was so nice. She hit me the other day. I was going to say to my people, am I allowed to hit her now? They said, take it easy, sir. Sir, take it easy. My geniuses, I'm telling you, they said, just take it easy. Oh, what do you mean? She said bad about me. I can't hit back. Sir, you're winning. Just relax. Is that good advice? Is that good or bad advice? I think it's neutral. You know what the response is there? It's like, nah. What do the ladies from North Carolina think about hit back or just relax? Huh? Oh, they say hit back. You say hit back. I'd actually love to hit back, but we'll hold it a little while. We'll hold it. I'd love to hit back, but oh, no, she took some shots at me the other day. I said, whoa, 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 what have we here? I'd never heard that before. I've always treated her very nicely. But he's the great divider. Barack Hussein Obama, he's a great divider. But he never did. You know, he came out same way for Hillary. How did that work out? Oh. And here's news, it's breaking today. Sleepy Joe Biden has announced officially that he likes Trump more than he likes Kamala. And he actually hates my guts, but he likes Trump more than he likes Kamala. Oh, he hates her. They walked into the office. He just got 14 million votes. He voted for me. That's one of the ladies from North Carolina. He voted for me. She said he voted for me. He probably did, you know. Being interesting, they got to follow him in with a camera. Why not? They spied on my campaign, right? So why the hell couldn't you do that? But Sleepy Joe said, I don't want to leave. You're leaving, Joe. This was crazy, Nancy. She's such a bad one. She's already plotting a move to try and impeach him. She's a bad, sick woman. She's crazy as a bedbug. Remember she ripped up the paper behind me? You know, she could have gone to jail for that. You're not allowed to do that. I think Nancy Pelosi is a disgrace. They impeached me on no evidence. I did nothing wrong. Fortunately, the Republicans stood up for me 100%. But Nancy Pelosi is a disgrace. The hatred she brings, she's got real hatred. And yet she can sell a stock like Visa last week, right? And the following day, they announced a major investigation into Visa, but she got out. And the fake news back there does nothing about it. They should be ashamed of it. Okay. And by the way, just to get it straight, because there'll be reports, it's already probably out over the wires, I should have done it. I'm only kidding about Joe. He didn't officially say that, but I believe, okay? It's probably already out on the wires that we have an official report from, because this is pretty big stuff up here. So when I say it's official, no, I'm only kidding. In July, an illegal alien who Kamala released into our country was arrested in Charlotte, North Carolina, for stalking a woman into a public bathroom and attempting to forcibly rape her. In Wilmington, North Carolina, 3 months ago, an illegal from Venezuela brutally stabbed a man to death just 4 days after he was arrested for domestic violence. But instead of being deported, this criminal alien was released so he can kill, and that's what he did. These terrible atrocities are happening every day in our cities and towns. They're going after young girls, they're going after old men, they're going after anybody that moves. They don't care. And different from us, the moment they kill, they don't even think about it. We don't kill. But can you imagine if something happened and it would be devastating. They don't even think. They wake up the next morning and they don't even think about the damage and the havoc and the ruin they've caused families and the pain. And these are coming back. These people are coming into our country at levels that have never been seen in any country. No third world country would allow it. They'd stand at that border with sticks and stones and they'd say, "You're not coming in here." I want you to hear directly from a mother whose world has been shattered because Kamala let savage illegal alien murderers into our country. Please.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
Yeah. We're going to shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with 2 men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration and our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter, she failed Jocelyn. She was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office, I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
Very sad. That was a few days ago that we had the news announcement, and it was the day when the Border Patrol endorsed me so strongly, and I was so honored by it. And we talked about Jocelyn. She was there and talked about Jocelyn. I mean, just so unnecessary. Would have never happened. They wouldn't have been able to get into the country. Would have never happened. So many things wouldn't have happened. Inflation wouldn't have happened. Russia, Ukraine wouldn't have happened. Israel wouldn't have happened. The October 7th Israel attack would have never happened. Those people would all be alive. Most of them are gone, I believe. I think that's part of the reason they're not wanting to negotiate so much. They said, oh, I can't believe it. They're probably, most of those hostages, sadly, it's, I think they're possibly gone. Most of them are gone. And it would have never happened. That attack would have never happened. All those people would be alive. And the Afghanistan, the greatest embarrassment in the history of our country, I believe. They took the soldiers out first. You have to take the soldiers out last. It's very simple. Milley should have been fired. All those generals. Kelly should have been. Kelly was such a disaster. They, you know, some people are good, some people are not good. Some people are stupid. But who would think that you take the soldiers out first? Mattis made big mistakes. But remember this about our military. We defeated ISIS. And I got you into no wars because we had great people. I had mostly great people. We had mostly great people. And when I went to Washington, I didn't know anybody. I was a New York guy. I was only there 17 times, according to the media. And I went to Washington, and you know, I said, listen, I just became president, but I don't know anybody. And you rely on very good people. Some are rhinos, and you know, they're decent rhinos too, but they give you rhinos back. And we don't like the rhinos. We don't think they do the job properly. But we did a phenomenal job. I just want to say that the day that I take office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. And on day one, I will launch the largest deportation of criminal program in American history. And a president named Dwight Eisenhower, great general, a better president than people were saying, actually. But he believed in strong borders. He hated to see people come through our border, and he has the record right now, but I suspect that record, unfortunately, it's not something I want to do. But we have no choice. We can't allow murderers and drug dealers and all these people. They're all pouring into our country, and we can't allow it. We won't have a country left. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered. They've been conquered. Our towns have been, you take a look at Aurora, take a look at Springfield. We have a town of 50,000 people, and they drop 30,000 illegal migrants. They used a little technicality so we don't call them, but that, to me, that's illegal. In any event, there's no way a town can subsist. You have hospitals where people who go for a checkup can't get checkups anymore. The whole place is being flooded. And these are, they come from largely a troubled country, a very troubled country, very dangerous country, but a very troubled country. And they have another little problem. They don't speak a word of English, so the mayor, who's a nice guy, is looking for interpreters. This isn't what we're all about. 30,000 people going to a 50,000 people town. Springfield, Ohio. No problems. We had a beautiful, beautiful little town, and now it's horrible. And this is happening all over. Those are examples. Aurora, in Colorado, you have a radical left lunatic governor that has no idea what the hell he's doing. And Colorado should vote for me because of what they put me through. They tried to take me off the ballot when I was leading both the Republican and Democrat parties. And it went to the Supreme Court of the United States, and in a unanimous decision, they say, I'm sorry, you're going to have to beat him at the polls, you know? You're going to have to beat him at the polls. And hopefully they're not going to be able to do that. And the people of Colorado, you know who is more angry about that than the Republicans? The Democrats, the regular Democrats. And I think we have a chance of, I hope that Colorado's watching now, and I think we have a chance of winning Colorado because of what they did. That was, you talk about democracy. That was a threat to democracy. See, that was a real threat to democracy. And we will put the vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in a jail. We'll kick them out of the country. We'll take care of it. But to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs like MS-13. We have a lot of gangs. They're bad ones. They're tough people. Thank goodness we have ICE and Border Patrol, and we have great law enforcement. We have great law enforcement. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities. They're sanctuary for criminals in the United States of America. And to secure our border and working along with all of the things we're going to be doing, we are going to rescue our economy. 4 years of Kamala has delivered nothing but economic hell for our American workers. Her inflation disaster has made life unaffordable and cost families over $30,000 in higher prices. And just days ago, we had the worst jobs report in modern history. Do you know that? I looked up, I said, thank you. Thank you. Because they tried to hold it. They tried not to put the report out. Kamala said, don't put that report, it'll cost me the election. But the problem is the fake news doesn't want to report on it. So usually you're hearing 200,000 jobs, 300,000, sometimes like 4. We had the best numbers people have ever seen. But usually you're looking at a lot of, hundreds of thousands of jobs. Routinely, it's expanding, and 12,000 jobs were created. That's a depression, 12,000 jobs were created. But that's the good news. 30,000 private sector jobs were killed in a single month. Nearly 100,000 manufacturing jobs have been wiped out since the start of this year. 150,000 Americans joined the unemployment rolls in October. This is in 1 month. I always said I would never want to have a thing like this happen. And I've been saying it's going to happen because of what they're doing, because they know nothing about economics or business, or honestly, they're stupid people. We have stupid people leading our nation. And nearly 250,000 people dropped out of the labor force. They dropped out because they couldn't get a job. And can you imagine that? Can you imagine? These are the numbers, and they don't want to talk about it, but that's okay. These numbers are disqualifying. These numbers make them, because the famous quote, it's all about the economy, stupid. We have the worst economy that we've ever had since the 1929 Depression. These are depression numbers, and it's going to get worse. But see, they'll blame it on me. She just said, they'll blame it on me. But you see, that's what I didn't want. I didn't want to be sworn in and then have these numbers come then. I said, I hope it comes before I go into office. Otherwise, I'll get blamed. I didn't want to be a certain president. Thank you. I didn't want to be a certain president that had to preside over. He got into office, and it all crashed down. People jumping off buildings. It all came. This is the beginning. Just remember this. This was an important date last week. The end of last week. Remember, that was a very important time. Just think, a few months ago they fraudulently claimed 818,000 jobs were created. 818,000, and it was a fraud. When in fact, there were no jobs that were created. It was all a lie, and they thought they'd be able to get away with it through the election, but there was a whistleblower, and the whistleblower couldn't stand what they were doing and blew the whistle on them, and they got caught. And now again, they've just revised past job reports because they had another whistleblower, so they had to do it. They wanted to wait till after the election again. And they found another 112,000 fake jobs. In other words, jobs that they're reporting exist and they don't exist. It's a fraud. That's 1 million fake jobs. Now, when you look at the numbers and you see those jobs, it didn't make it look great, not like our years. But you know what it made it look like? Pretty normal, pretty good. There was no story. Meanwhile, think of this. Meanwhile, 100% of net jobs created in the last year have gone to migrants. Can you imagine? Not to our population, migrants. But these are depression-type numbers, and that's where we're heading if she's elected. Under my leadership, we're quickly going to turn this economic nightmare into an economic miracle. You'll see. And we're going to make America wealthy again. And we will make America, very importantly, affordable again, because people cannot afford the prices. The prices are too high. We're just one day away from the best jobs and biggest paychecks and the brightest economic future that the world has ever seen. But you must go and vote, and Kamala talks about fixing the economy, but why doesn't she do it? She always goes, oh, yes, we're going to do this. We're going to give you tax hikes. You know what? She wants to raise people's taxes. That's how the Depression started, by the way. Herbert Hoover, he raised the interest rates and the taxes at the same time, and it just went boom. That's what she wants to do. She wants to increase your taxes. Interest rates are too high. They are too high. Kamala's plan will impose the largest tax hike in American history and raise taxes on the typical American family by $3,000. My plan will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses. And we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits. To rapidly reduce inflation, I will end Kamala's war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill. Right? Yeah. And I will cut your energy prices. You have very high energy prices, I have to say. You have high energy prices, and you don't have FEMA. Those people, they better get that FEMA here fast. But we're going to, on January 20th, you'll see a whole different, just tell everybody to sit back, relax. January 20th, you'll see people come in and help you out like we did in the past. We had great FEMA. We had a lot of hurricanes. We helped Puerto Rico more than anybody. I mean, we helped them so much. They love me and I love them. Puerto Rico, see, she loves me. She loves me and I love her too, actually. No, we had great FEMA. We helped Puerto Rico and other places, but at levels nobody ever saw before. We got in there. We sent hospital ships. We sent everything. They got hit hard. Puerto Rico got really hit hard, a lot. They still do. And I'll cut your energy prices in one half. We have more liquid gold than any country. Russia, Saudi Arabia, right there. It's under your feet. We're going to cut your energy prices by 50%. And when that happens, everything else is going to come down. That's what brought it up. Then before leaving, I just want to introduce some people that have just been great. Senator Ted Budd, you know, he's great. Congressman Dan Bishop, who's running for Attorney General. And he was a great congressman, and he'll be a great Attorney General. Candidates for Congress, Brad Nod and Alan Swain, they're terrific, please. Good luck. I heard you're doing great. Our great RNC chairman. Now, if we don't win, I'm not going to be saying that. I'm going to take it back, okay? But I think we've got it under control, wouldn't you say? The great Michael Whatley of North Carolina. Now we're going to win. And Michael had one message for you. Oh, we don't need your money. We don't need anything. Got plenty of money. We got plenty of everything. All we need is a very simple vote. Just go out and vote. And get your friends to vote, too. Bring them along, you know? And a man who I'm so proud of because he stepped into very big shoes, Michael's shoes, GOP Chair Jason Simmons. We're looking good? Thank you. These guys don't let us down. I mean, I took the man from North Carolina, I moved him to the top. That's a nice statement. When all those other things were falling off a cliff, right? Ballots have been found, but this guy had 603 lawyers, and we had him stymied. You don't think they would have done that here, too? But we have a good legal team now. We're watching them, and they're watching. They don't know what I think they're very upset at what we've done. But Michael has really established some power to all we want. And we don't want any, we just want a fair election. That's all we want, you know? A friend of mine and former acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker, thank you very much. Alice Johnson's here. Where's Alice Johnson? Oh, look at my beautiful. Somebody came in to see me. They said, there's a woman that's been in jail for 22 years, this is approximately, but like around that number. A beautiful woman, a great woman. Everyone in prison loves her. She's like the person that everybody, she's a high quality. And how much longer does she have to stay? Another 28 years. She's been there for 22 years. The model prisoner, and people called me about her, I've been hearing about her. And what happened was amazing. I checked it out. I said, wow, that's a hell of a big sentence for doing what people do now and they don't even get fined, right? So she's in there for 22 years. So I got her out of prison. I said, I'm doing it. You look beautiful. Wow. Can you imagine? She was actually on a phone call. They had a couple of guys selling drugs and stuff, and she was on the call. They gave her 22 years plus, I guess, 50, 60 years or something. I mean, it's unbelievable. Today, they wouldn't even give you a fine. And it's, you know, and that's no good either, by the way, because what's going on. But it was one of the best feelings. I mean, I've had a lot of good feelings. We had a lot of victories, I'll tell you what. But that was one of the really good feelings getting. And then I said to Alice, she came into the White House, said, how many people are like you in prison? In your prison, big prison? She said, many, sir. I said, really? Are they all that way? Are they? No, sir. And that was a good answer because I knew they weren't, you know. If she would have said yes, then I would have said, well, you gave me the right answer. You don't know it. But she said, many, many great people. I said, give me a list of your top 25 or 30 or 50 or 10, whatever it is. Give me a list of really good people who shouldn't be there. And she gave me a list, and we got every one of them out immediately, right? Right? It's just a great woman. Thank you very much, John. I didn't know you were going to be here. That's very nice. She still likes me. Well, she's got to like me. What the hell? I mean, could you imagine if she were like some of these guys? Sometimes I'll endorse somebody and they won't be that. Can you imagine when, this would be a story. I got her out of 28 years and then she comes out against me. I'd say, but stuff like that happens in politics, I got to tell you. But not with that one, it doesn't. We love you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I didn't even put it here, but you know, we have so much stuff and I don't want to bore you, but I was asked by a group of people, mostly African-American people came to my office. They said, we've been trying for 30 years to get criminal justice reform. Obama couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Nobody could do it. And they came to my office and they said, we have a problem. We're 5 votes short and we need 5 conservative senators that are hard line. And actually, we had conservative senators that loved it, Ted, right? We had some conservative senators that were actually supporting it. But I called up some of the senators, and one of them in particular was great. He said, you got it. He was leading it. He said, sir, you got it. I said, I got what? I haven't even asked you a question yet. You're calling about criminal justice reform. And I'm the one that's leading against it, right? But you got it. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be a senator. And if you feel that way, I'm giving it to you. That's the way it was. I got 5 guys in 10 minutes. And we got it done, and it was verge, because I see this guy, I don't know who he is, but I see him on television. Sort of a lightweight, I think, not a very smart guy. But you know what? He came in. He was one of the people that came into the office. A black gentleman named Van Jones, right? Right? So he came in, and I was impressed with him. You know, good-looking guy. He was crying uncontrollably that it was going to fail again. And there were like 10 African-American people and a couple of others, but mostly African-American, and he was sitting right in front of me and weeping and saying and I really thought it was great because you know what, that's okay. I mean, he's trying to get people like Alice out, that's good. And there were no provisions for anything. It was really draconian. And what I did is I said, that's really nice. Look, I'm going to see if I can get this for you. I got it done in about 2 hours. And we had criminal justice reform. And they announced a news conference that night. Van Jones, who I don't know. The only time I think I ever met him was in the Oval Office. They came in with a group about criminal justice reform. And remember, Obama couldn't get, nobody could get it. Nobody. Bush couldn't get it. They all tried. Why wouldn't they try? So what happens is, he was crying profusely. I told him, congratulations, we're going to get it for you, and I got it. And then they announced a news conference that night in some place in Washington, D.C., and he was heading up the news conference. I said, First Lady, come on over here. I'm going to show you something really nice. This is really a beautiful thing. I'm very happy I was able to do this. I got them the vote that they could have never gotten, 5 conservative senators. You wouldn't have gotten these guys. So you got to know what we're dealing with here. They were seriously hard right, and that's good. That's fine. You got hard left, you got hard right. And I said, First Lady, people love, she's got the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I wouldn't have even said that except I read it, and it's really good. If, you know, can you imagine if I didn't read it and I didn't like it? No, she's great. She loves you. She says hello. But she got the #1, that's a big achievement in life. On the New York Times list, do you know how that book has to sell 20 times more than it should in order for her to be the #1 bestseller? So we're proud of her. She's great. And she was a great First Lady. People love her. People love her. And I said, First Lady, see, this is a little bit of a weave. You see those stories? First Lady, book, boom. But you got to always bring it back. When it comes to a time when it doesn't meet at the bottom, then it's time to say, let's not do this shit anymore. We won't do this anymore. But, so what happened is Van Jones was crying, and now I tell him it's okay. He was the happiest guy. It was beautiful. Got a nice way about him. Nice look, you know, real nice look, smart. And I heard they were going to have a big news conference to announce it later on that evening. And they had it. And I said, First Lady, come on. This is what I want you to watch. Because I wouldn't say she's in love with politics. You know, I wouldn't say it's her first thing on the book. She's not in love with politics. She says, it's a very unfair situation. But I said, welcome to politics, right? But she's been so popular. She's raised so much money for people with B-Best. So I said, listen, you got to watch this. So we sat down and we were watching the news conference opened, and Van Jones was introducing everybody that I never heard of any of them. I want to thank this one. I want to thank that one. I want to thank Al Sharpton. The guy had nothing to do with it. Nothing. He had nothing. It was just a con job. I've known Al for a long time. It's just a con job. So I want to thank Al Sharpton. He wants to thank all these people. I never met any of them. Some were names. He was thanking Democrat senators that opposed it. He was thanking everybody. And before it started, I said, honey, look, we're human. I said, baby, wait till you hear the nice things he says about me. It's unbelievable. It's going to be unbelievable. So come here, because this is really bringing the country together. So she said, oh, that's nice. So we sat and watched. And after announcing the first 10 or 12 names, she looks at me. Do you think he's going to say anything about you? Yeah, I think so. Maybe he's saving it for the end. You saved the best for last. He went through so many names, and he never mentioned my names. He never mentioned my name, and every time I see that guy, not that I needed it, I get enough publicity, but can you imagine that? And then they wonder about why you don't bring people together. Van Jones went through so many names that night. They were up on the stage with him. And it was only done because of a guy named Donald J. Trump. And I just thought, you know, I haven't related that story. But little things like, now I'm relieved. I don't have to carry around that story. But all I know is that our beautiful Alice Johnson is out of prison, and she should have never been there for that kind of a thing, or certainly not for very long. We love you, Alice. It's great that you're there. We'll always be your friend. And just quickly, I want to also thank Steve Witkoff. He's here. He's a friend of mine. He's been traveling with me. He's one of the most successful developers, and he gave a lot of money to Franklin Graham also. I want to tell you that. So Steve Witkoff, wherever Steve is. Thank you, Steve. And Howard Lutnick is, along with an unbelievable woman, Linda McMahon, they're heading up transition. And they're going to do a great job. He's got a great story. He's been a very successful person, but he had to rebuild his firm because of the attack on the World Trade Center. He lost his entire firm and then rebuilt it bigger, better, stronger, and he gave a big portion of the proceeds to the people that were killed. He lost the top 3 floors of the building. He was on his firm. Cantor Fitzgerald was on the top 3 floors of the World Trade Center. They were all gone, including his brother. And he rebuilt that firm, and it's now bigger, and he gave a big chunk. He didn't have to do that, and he's just a very highly respected man on Wall Street, and he's involved in the transition at a high level. And I also would like to pay homage and Ed, because they're great people. They're great people. It's, you know, we all like to brag about our kids, and sometimes maybe we shouldn't. And some people, you know, but you have your kids, you love your kids, but these are great children, I mean, they're not children anymore, but to me, they'll always be children, right? They're your children. If they're 25 or 35 or 40, I mean, Don is not a child. Eric is not a child. Tiffany is now going to have a beautiful baby. And I want to, Ivanka called me a little while ago. She sends her love to everybody. She's terrific. And I have a guy who's at home with the First Lady, and he's very smart. He got into a great college, and he's now in college. He's 18 years old, and he's doing great. And he gives me good advice. Dad, just take it easy now. You just take it easy, Dad, all right? You don't have to go too much here. He gives me good advice. He's very wise. And I also, Michael Boulos, who's fantastic. His family is fantastic, and that's it. So in conclusion, with your vote tomorrow, we're going to fire Kamala, we're going to save America, and we're going to cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to North Carolina. We will build American, we will buy American, we will hire American, and I will end the war in Ukraine. Should have never started. If I were president, would have never started. And in the Middle East, would have never started. Israel, all those people would be alive. And I will prevent, I promise, World War III. We're very close to World War III, in case you haven't noticed that we have people that don't have, we have people representing us who don't have a clue. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a missile defense shield over our country made in the USA. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our nation, defend our borders, and protect our lands and citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. And we want people to come into our country, but they have to come in legally, all right? We do want people. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. They are conquering. They are conquering large sections of our country. We're being conquered. Can you believe that? The only difference is they're not wearing military uniforms. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope and the American dream itself. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. Kamala destroyed perhaps the greatest city in our nation, San Francisco. It's an embarrassment what's happened to San Francisco. We're not going to let her destroy our country. So all I need is for you to get out and vote. For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. We have together, all of us together. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. Belongs to you. Because it was the hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and tomorrow it is the hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. Think of this, I won't be doing this anymore with North Carolina, and I won't be doing this anymore with, after today, I'm just thinking as I'm going through this, that this will be our final moment, but the more exciting moment is going to begin. See, these moments of hundreds and hundreds of the most incredible rallies that any country, no country's ever seen anything like that. But these moments that we've had together, these really were just to create what we hopefully will create tomorrow, which is We're going to make America great again. We had to get there to do it. So we'll have many meetings, but we won't have rally meetings. We're going to have, maybe we'll rally in that, we'll rally in our success. We'll have, because we're going to make our country, we're going to make our country so successful. And we did it. We had the greatest economy, best, you see the numbers, you see the charts. We did such a good job, but we'll do a much better job now because I know the people. Now I know the good ones, the bad ones. I know the weak ones, the strong ones. I know the stupid ones. I know the smart ones. I know them all. After all we've been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America's promise and we will take back the nation that we all love so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in, we will never give up, we will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. We're going to save our country. We're going to turn our country around, and we're going to do it quickly. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, North Carolina. Go out and vote.